site. Restart.
Oh, hi.
I got into the hotel security feed.
Been for you.
They were hit by a hit squad. It seems Chad was taken by
Well,
Jamie.
I
The
just
rest
got
of
back
Ophelia's
and
team was taken by
I
Juarez police.
built a fitness
The video screen in the
building.
armory came to
The
life.
skull, as you
On
can
it showed Ophelia
tell,
cuffed to a chair.
and a
She looked up
top
to see a figure walk in. One that
next
made my
to
blood run cold.
the skull.
Carlos Estevez stood ahead of her.
Then
Mind
over
flashed back to
here
that day
is going
in
to be
his
the
mansion.
police station.
To me, finding her with pieces of her dress cut off and
Well,
him in a
I'm
puddle
doing
of his own blood. 10 hours from now. I wish I could say I spent the next 10 hours resting, but my anxiety had gotten the better of me. All I could think about was her. What had she gotten herself into? And for what? Revenge? Because I couldn't come back to her? I could feel the frustration withering me away. The 10 hours turned to 5, then to 2, then to 1. Each minute was agonizing. Eventually, the time came. Diablos held a legendary status amongst South American cartels. Rumors of it began during the early days of the Estevez dynasty, when the man had begun using his own cartel money to rebuild Juarez. He turned coal into diamond. His cartel removed thieves and rapists from the streets, low-level criminals. No one knew where they went at first, just that petty crime took a nosedive. Estevez looked like a hero. He was celebrated all over the country. No jury, no trial.
Ron.
If you were even suspected of a petty crime, you went to Diablos. A lot of people wondered, of course, how Carlos had gotten hold of the facility. Some of the rumors involving a certain pharmaceutical company, of course. There was talk about experiments being conducted on the prisoners underneath the prison, but no one ever made it out, so no one knew for sure. The horseman reminded me maybe 3 more times that I wasn't in contact with them before they teleported me inside the prison. When I arrived, I found myself standing in the supply closet, a darkened supply closet. I'm in their security feed. Warden's office is just down the hall, and on the right. A horseman's voice said to my comlink. I carefully opened the closet doorway and peered outside. Everything was calm. The hallway was brightly illuminated by the lights on the ceiling. I clothed my suit and stepped out. I started making my way towards the warden's office. It didn't take long for me to get there. When it did, I found it empty. Just a small wooden desk, a file cabinet, and 4 walls. It was smaller than I'd expected. The desk was empty, not even a cell phone or a laptop on it. I very quickly turned and started rummaging through the filing cabinet. It didn't take me very long, but I found the prison blueprints, as well as the files on the lower levels of the prison. In particular, something called Project 43, or, as Carlos had dubbed it, the Ghost Legion. You see, when Ophelia killed the good Carlos, the cartel split into factions. Rival cartels moved into Juarez. A war broke out over the months that followed. A war that suddenly ended over the course of one night. Most of the faction leaders either dying or disappearing. All in thanks to the re-emerging Daddy Estevez and his Ghost Legion. That isn't good, Horseman said into my comlink in an ominous tone. I'm guessing the warden's phone can wait, I said, examining the files myself. Get to the security room. Once the ride starts, get to the sub-level. My next task was to head towards the security control room. There, I could shut down the power and open all the cells. I also needed to track down the warden, but that didn't matter as much to me as it did to Horseman. Cloaking and getting to the security room wasn't hard. I only passed a few guards along the way. Perks of being invisible, I guess. The only downside was that there was no way I was going to be able to open the door without the guard inside noticing it. I had to think about this for a second. I knocked on the security door. I watched as the groggy security guard got up through the window on the door. The security room was small. It was almost the size of a large closet with a desk and a wall full of security monitors. The guard staggered over and looked out the window. I was still cloaked. He looked around and then rolled his eyes before walking back to his chair. I knocked again. He turned back to the door. seconds. I knocked again. He begrudgingly shot to his feet and yanked open the doorway. I drop-kicked him back into the room. He loudly crashed into the security monitors. I walked into the room and shut the door behind me. The man was out cold. I got onto their computer and started typing away. It took only a few seconds to find the cell they were keeping her. I clicked on it. The screen popped open with a live feed. She was sitting on her bed. There were two men in the cell with her. Both were CIA agents whose files I'd read. A tall,